I wanted to record this episode for you guys because I don't want you to miss this. I don't want you to miss the joy and the sweetness and the unforgettable memories that you can make with your kids on vacation with them. I don't want you to give into the cynicism or false narrative that a family vacation isn't a thing, that it's really a family trip because you don't get to vacation. That just isn't true. I don't want you to believe that because I don't want you to miss out. Hey, my name is Sarah Short, and I'm a busy mom of 5 kids, and after almost 2 decades of parenting, I'm here to share with you everything I've learned from my triumphs and successes and from my biggest mistakes. Think of me as the mom who's been where you are, remembers how hard, hilarious, and exhausting your days are, and wants to help you navigate your days as a mom with courage and intention, all while fostering amazing relationships with your kids and a home life you love. My Nana once told me, there's no way but through. Turns out she was right, in life and in motherhood. So throw in some headphones and come laugh and cry with me as we talk about all things mom. This is the No Way But Through podcast. Welcome back to the No Way But Through podcast. I was so excited when I sat down to plan for this episode because I realized that my podcast here is a quarter of a century old. I mean, I suppose we're only a few months into this podcast launching, but there was something about hitting this 25th episode that felt like a big milestone. And if you know me in real life, or if you've just gotten to know me from this podcast, you know that I love reasons to celebrate. I will pretty much celebrate anything, anytime. And this podcast, 25 episodes of it feels worthy of a celebration. Also, I feel like I don't say this enough, but thank you all so much for tuning in week after week. I really am getting to know some of you that listen here every week and that you reach out to me each week, and I can't say enough how much I appreciate you showing up here every week and spending time here, learning and growing as moms. And I just wanted to stop and pause before I started this episode and let y'all know how much I truly appreciate you. You encourage me so much with the messages that you send me and the interactions that we have over on Instagram, the stories that you share where you're quoting this podcast and saying how much you love it. And so this is just another reminder too, that if you haven't joined us over there on Instagram, to head over to No Way But Through on Instagram. I post updates there throughout the week. Sometimes I post reels or some carousels or different ways that you can consume the content or ways that you can share it with other moms that you know. So hop on over to Instagram if you haven't yet and join us at No Way But Through. Also, I wanted to remind you that you can financially support this podcast. There is a link at the bottom of the show notes. Every episode of this podcast has that at the bottom. And so if you would like to financially support this podcast, I would love it. It enables me to continue doing what I'm doing here. Now that we're about to head into the summer months, I thought it would be a good time to talk about family vacations. I know y'all are probably planning, or you've already planned some summer vacation time with your kids and your families, and I know along with that comes a whole lot of stuff. Packing and planning for meals and packing up your kids and family dynamics and seeing in-laws or your siblings or your parents or aunts and uncles, or all of the different things that come along with summer family travel. Jason and I have been married almost 23 years, and we've had a lot of different opportunities over the years to travel with family. And so while I'm not going to specifically talk about family dynamics today, I just want to say in solidarity that if you feel like you're feeling anxious about travel and that's going to involve some of your extended family, that I understand. My family has some really complex dynamics, and it's made different trips that we've done, well, it's given us a lot to navigate. It's important for me to say that in a way that honors them well. But I just know that with family vacation, even if you're just traveling with your own kids, there is so much that goes into a family vacation. I have this really distinct memory of when I had my first 2 little boys and I was pregnant with my third. I was sitting on the floor of my bedroom with all of this laundry. Some of it I had folded and some of it was just sitting in baskets, and I had these little piles of little boy clothes all around me, and I was trying to decide and figure out how to pack them. I didn't really have any system back then at all. And, my mom, she was never really good at any of this. She never taught me any of this. And so I'm sitting with one huge suitcase, and then I have a couple of little other bags around me and all of these piles of little boy clothes. And I'm trying to figure out what to pack and how to pack. And it was late at night because I am the queen of procrastination. And we had to leave early the next morning. And I just thought to myself, man, I am so tired. The absolute last thing in the world I wanted to do in that moment was be packing for that vacation. I knew that eventually I would get it done, and I would crawl into bed, and we would leave the next morning, and we'd go on vacation, and somehow I would get from point A to point B, where I was at 10 o'clock at night being point A, and point B being when we were on the road and ready to go. But I just remember sitting there and feeling so overwhelmed by needing to pack all of the stuff that I needed for my baby and then my toddler, and not wanting to forget anything, because if you forget stuff, then y'all know this, then you have to pay out the wazoo at the whatever gift shop or try to find it because you're going to need it. And I just remember not wanting to forget anything. And then on top of that, being pregnant. So on top of having a baby and a toddler, I was pregnant, and I needed maternity clothes that I wasn't even comfortable in. And I was just sitting there, y'all, just a total hot mess. And I remember it like it was yesterday. This was my life for a whole lot of years. This has actually been my life for a whole lot of years. Packing up my kids and going on vacation with my family, and all of the different dynamics of being away from home, potential dynamics of being with other family members or even friends if we were meeting friends on vacation, which was rare for us, but we did it from time to time. And on top of all of that, y'all, I'm a photographer. So I wanted my kids to look cute, and I wanted their clothes to be cute and match and be able to get good pictures with all of them wearing cute stuff. And all of this was swirling around in my mind. And it's a scenario that has repeated itself many times over the years. Like most of motherhood, taking our kids away on vacation requires a lot of us. We end up seeing the pictures from a vacation that other families are taking on social media, right? And everyone's smiling and everyone's happy. And those are the pictures that I have at the end of a vacation, right? When I go on vacation with my family, when we've been on vacation for the last 20 years. But all of the work and all of the planning and the packing and the breaking up squabbles, and where people are passed out on sofas and not getting sleep at night, and then temper tantrums and the whole host of other stuff that happens on family vacations, it doesn't make the camera roll, right? We don't post those on Instagram, and we don't share those, right? It's just not what we want to share. We pack and we plan and we do all of this stuff because we know at the end we're going to have these memories with our kids, right? Fun times as a family. Vacation and family vacations were part of our lives when we were younger, and we have fond memories of those, and we want that for us and our kids too, right? But the untold story that never shows up on an Instagram carousel is all the work and intention and planning and packing and formula and bottles, and do I bring the boppy and do I bring the bumbo, and are we really going to need to pack and play, or is there going to be one at the beach house or at the hotel or resort, or do I buy a new tent? Just all of the stuff that goes untold. If you've experienced all of that, or you are experiencing all of that now as you start to think about going away on vacation with your family this summer, I just want to tell you that I get it, that I remember, that I know how hard it is, and I know how mentally taxing it is, and that you as a mom, you bear the weight of most of it. I know, I was there. What I'm not going to share with you today are a whole bunch of tips and tricks about taking your little ones on vacation. You can absolutely Google packing tips for an infant or packing tips for toddlers or traveling with toddlers, traveling with babies, tips and tricks for dealing with your in-laws, packing lists and what gear to take and what's the best sunscreen to use. All of that is really valuable stuff that you need to know and that will be helpful to you. But you're going to get that so much better from somebody else, especially from somebody who is in the same stage as you, or maybe just like a year or two ahead that can say, this is the best stuff to take with you. So while I'm not going to share with you a bunch of tips and tricks of practical things to take with you, I am going to give you 2 simple sentences that absolutely transformed the way I saw our family vacations. And it didn't just transform the way I saw our vacations. It transformed me. It changed my heart. It helped me reject cynicism and even some of the verbiage around, it's not a vacation, it's a family trip. And here it is. Lower your expectations of your kids and raise your expectations of yourself. Lower your expectations of your kids and raise your expectations of yourself. I mentioned this before, I believe around in the context around social media, but one of the things I really dislike are some of the narratives out there around teenagers. There's so much cynicism around raising teenagers and their habits and their behaviors and their choices. And y'all, I have 4 teenagers in my house right now that I love so, so much. And if I gave into believing some of those narratives, I actually think I would be completely miserable as a parent. If I saw my 4 boys the way people describe and talk about teenagers, I don't know how we could live together. And I certainly don't know how they or I could thrive in that kind of environment or with those kinds of beliefs about them. Do we have challenges around here with a house full of teenagers? Of course. We have a ton of challenges that require prayer and guidance and attention, as I talked about last week, and some of our days are really tough around here. But Jason and I both absolutely refuse to believe and buy into this idea that teenagers are horrible, and it's just a time of life that we need to get through and get over with them. I just refuse to believe that about my kids, and I refuse to believe that about the season that they're in. They are growing and changing, and they are growing up right before my unbelieving eyes. And they are going through the very normal things that we went through as teenagers. Except, they've got to do it with the added layer of social media and cell phones. And so in some ways, it's a lot more difficult for them than it ever was for us. And in that way, they just need a whole lot more grace. In the same way that I reject those narratives about raising teenagers, I think the narrative around family vacations can be really destructive and really bad for our relationships with our kids. And that's this. One of the things we hear a lot when people are talking about going on vacation with their family and with their kids is that a family vacation really isn't a vacation at all. It's a quote unquote family trip. We don't vacation with our kids. We go on family trips. You hear it from comedians, and we all laugh because we all know that vacationing with our family, vacationing with our kids can be hard. That's just the fact of the matter. It's funny when it's a joke. It's funny if it's a passing comment that we just kind of all laugh at and we feel solidarity with each other because we get each other's challenges and we get what we're going through when we're planning a family vacation and what it requires of us and taking our kids away. But what isn't funny and what isn't helpful and what I've witnessed and experienced as a mom of 5 kids and living in community with a lot of people and having a lot of different kinds of friends, or just pulling up social media, is that it's gone so far beyond just a joke that we laugh at in a comedy routine. What I've heard and witnessed is this actually becoming the framework that people use when they're planning and thinking about a vacation with their kids. People will say things like, this trip isn't for us because all we do is work and it's really hard and our kids are misbehaved. So we go on a family trip, not a vacation, because this is nothing like a vacation. Vacation? Chasing my toddlers around and my baby's routine being completely disrupted and sand on everything and in everything? I wouldn't call that a vacation. Y'all, I have now raised 5 different kids through the age of 10. I've had multiple toddlers at the same time and had a baby, been potty training and had to change diapers. I've had strong-willed kids and kids who need more attention. And I want to tell you that I absolutely do understand and have not forgotten the difficulties that come with going away with your family. But when I go into it, raising the expectations of myself, and knowing that my adult shoulders, me being the parent in this situation, should rightfully bear the responsibility of knowing how to navigate our vacation well, and then lowering the expectations of my kids, knowing that this is their second or third vacation ever, and knowing and recognizing that they don't know how to manage it, well, then that gives me grace for my kids. And it preemptively empowers me to want to do all of it really well, to help my kids, to be a source of patience and joy and grace for them, to go into it knowing that there are going to be challenges, yes, and knowing that their routines are going to be disruptive and so different than what they're used to at home, but then asking myself, how can I make this awesome for them? Here's what I think we can do as parents sometimes. We can approach the vacation in 2 different ways. One, we gear up and we think it's just going to be awesome and everything's going to go smoothly. And we've packed and we've planned and we've bought the cute outfits and the cute bathing suits and we've done all of this work and it's just really going to be so awesome for our family. Or 2, we approach it like, oh my gosh, this is a family trip. This is not a vacation. It's just going to be rough and we just need to accept it. It's probably not going to be that fun and we just need to get through it. I think both of those narratives can lead to a lot of disappointment for us as parents because neither one of those is likely going to be the case. Is it probably going to go super smoothly and everything's going to work out just as you planned it? Absolutely not. I've been doing vacations with my kids for 20 years and it's never gone perfectly as I planned it. But does it have to be miserable and a complete sacrifice and something to just get through because you know the kids are going to be hellions and the in-laws are going to be tough and the weather and the disrupted nap time and someone's going to poop their pants and the whole deal? No, it's probably not going to be that either. What's likely going to happen is that there are going to be challenges to overcome, right? There are going to be some moments that are going to be awesome, and there are going to be some challenges that you're going to have to figure out. But y'all, that is our role as parents. That's what we signed up for when we became parents. We signed up for figuring out a whole lot of stuff, right? We've had to figure out how to change diapers and how to get a baby back to sleep and how to potty train and just all the things that go along with being a new parent. And so when you take your kids on vacation and challenges present themselves, you gotta figure it out. This framework, going into the vacation, knowing that figuring it out should rightfully fall on my shoulders, not on my kids, but on my shoulders, has helped me to be like, okay, we have a challenge here. Let's use my smarts, let's use my brain, use my experiences as a parent and figure it out. I think what we can naturally do if we don't stop and think about this and go about it with some intention is that we can put on our kids' shoulders the weight of bearing this. Meaning we can be like, You need to obey. You need to do this well. You need to stop melting down because you didn't get a nap. And we're not even maybe saying this stuff out loud to them. Maybe we're just thinking it, saying it in our minds. And it's like, why are my kids acting this way? Why are they acting so crazy? Instead of looking at ourselves and saying, you know what? I knew this was going to happen. I knew there were going to be challenges. I knew our schedules, our normal daily schedules, were going to get disrupted. And saying to myself, I have a toddler. And instead of looking at them like they're ruining the vacation or like their behavior is ruining the vacation, I look at it as an opportunity to love my family well, to love my toddler well in that moment, to figure out how are we going to rally, how are we going to solve the situation, solve the problem, and for me and Jason to do that together as a team on vacation with our family. What I want to drive home with you in this episode is that if you go into vacation with your family, the days leading up to your vacation, and you remind yourself, I need to raise my expectations of myself in this. I'm the mom, I'm the parent, and I so want to go away with my kids and enjoy time with them. So what I'm going to do is raise the expectations of myself and lower my expectations of my kids. When you do that, you then head into it, ready to pivot, ready to keep the vacation moving forward the best that you can with the challenges that face you, and then you'll feel empowered and capable and ready for when the challenges arrive. Seeing our family vacations, our trips to the beach, our trips to New York City, our trips to all the different cities that we've visited as a family, Florida, Fort Lauderdale, Orlando, Atlanta, all the places we've gone as a family. When Jason and I approach our vacations this way, they have been exponentially more enjoyable for us. They become a vacation for us. They never feel out of our control. The vacation never feels like it's up to the whim of however my kids are feeling at any moment or any given day. But so much of it, it's up to us. We get to affect so much of it just by the way we approach it. Your perspective matters. The way you view and see your family vacation before you ever take it matters. If you go into it with cynicism and you go into it thinking, well, this is just a family trip, it's sure not going to be a vacation, it's going to affect the way you view it and the way you experience it and the way you see your kids, your little ones sitting out on the beach. Why does your perspective matter? Because there is so much for you as a mom, for you as parents, when you vacation with your family, when you take your kids away and you go on a family vacation together. And here's what you might miss, and I don't want you to miss it because what I'm about to share with you is the foundation of some of the best memories I have with my family and my kids. While you do need to raise your expectations of yourself, when you go on vacation with your kids, you get to be a kid again. You get to be in their shoes. You get to play. Part of raising the expectations of myself when I go on vacation with my family means that I don't sit on the sidelines. I don't sit on my phone. Sitting on the sidelines is actually less relaxing. It's less fulfilling. Not being able to let go of work, not being able to let go of my own troubles and my routines and my own patterns at home, not letting go of those things means that I might miss out on all of the joy and all of the fun that I could be experiencing with my kids on vacation. And some of the biggest irritations that we experience as parents on vacations come when our kids are disrupting what it is that we want to do. And how much of that is us being on our phones, trying to work, or not letting go of our own agendas and just being present, being with our family on vacation. We plan a vacation and we plan to get away and we take off time from work to go away with our family. And our families then are the disruption. Our kids are the disruption. They're not perfectly behaved in a new environment and a new place and the hot sun, and that's the disruption. Y'all, being with your kids is the gift. Being with your kids is the point. Your kids are the gift. The time away with them is the whole thing. It's the whole point of it. One of the things that we can fail to realize is how much we receive as parents by maximizing the vacation. What do I mean by that? It isn't just a sacrifice for us to take our kids away on vacation. All of the planning and making it special for them and raising our expectations of ourselves and lowering our expectations of our kids and getting in the sand and playing with them and putting down your phone, stepping away from work. This is all incredibly life-giving for us as parents. I told you last week when talking with you about our kids going through a hard time that it has actually been the complete pouring out of myself to empty that I have found the most vibrant life. This is never more true than when I'm on vacation with my family. When I cook meals at the beach house at the end of a long day on the beach, I've showered off my toddlers and they're sitting on the sofa, sun-kissed and exhausted and light brown skin, and I've broken up squabbles and I've packed up the beach coolers and unpacked them again and made drippy castles in the sand and gotten on a boogie board and lathered on sunscreen over and over and over again. And now I'm in the kitchen, ready to make dinner. And I'm probably going to clean up after too, right? The combination of all of it, the very pouring out of myself for my family has been so life-giving for me. Loving my kids well, loving my husband, putting my phone away and waking up every day on vacation, knowing that much would be required of me to figure out how to face whatever challenges we're going to face and are going to come our way as a family, but then solving them with patience and grace and love for these gifts that God has given me, my kids. This pouring out of myself, y'all, collapsing into bed at night after enjoying the sun and the ice cream and all of it with my family, it's been so life-giving for me. It's truly a vacation. I count the memories that I've made on vacation with my family as some of the best of my life. I wouldn't trade one of them for anything, not one memory, not one vacation we've ever gone on would I trade for any material thing or any kind of physical comfort. I have now been vacationing with my children for almost 20 years. Big cities, New York City, Atlanta, Baltimore, Fort Lauderdale, and every year for 12 years, a beach vacation with all of my people. I've done it all at the beach, and I've done it all in big cities. Newborns in diapers, potty training, kids throwing up, stomach bug, emergency room visits, kids sleeping all over town, toddlers throwing temper tantrums, moody teenagers, stuff we forgot to bring. Then when we had very little money and when we had excess. Planes, car rides, train rides, bus rides, subway rides, boiling hot and freezing cold weather, rain and snow, smashed into tiny hotel rooms and sprawled out in big beach houses, lake trips, city trips, missions trips, kids in wheelchairs, kids on crutches, and kids with broken hearts. I'm not coming to you, sharing this with you because we've had some kind of ideal situation over here where vacation's always been easy. I will tell you this, our perspective, My and Jason's perspective going into our family vacations has completely impacted the way we have experienced them with our kids. We go into our family vacations by placing big expectations on our shoulders and lowering our expectations of our kids. We go into them wanting to be present, engaged, entering into their world as kids, seeing cities and beaches and historical sites through their eyes. We get to be kids, and we get to be with our kids, our best people, our best gifts. And when we see the challenges as nothing more than opportunities to use our smarts and our experience and our toughness and our teamwork to overcome whatever difficulties are in front of us, it makes it so much easier for us. I wanted to record this episode for you guys because I don't want you to miss this. I don't want you to miss the joy and the sweetness and the unforgettable memories that you can make with your kids on vacation with them. I don't want you to give into the cynicism or false narrative that a family vacation isn't a thing, that it's really a family trip because you don't get to vacation. That just isn't true. I don't want you to believe that because I don't want you to miss out. When you raise your expectations of yourselves as parents and you lower your expectations of your kids and you lavish them with grace while you problem solve and you sit down in the sand then and you make sand castles and you enter into their world on vacation, you will find it all to be so life-giving. You will. Your perspective matters. Your perspective going into your family vacation matters. And I so want you to have a perspective that makes room for your family to emerge from a vacation together, bonded closer, in it all together, and with memories that you as a mother will cherish. I promise you, you will cherish those memories when they grow up. That's it for this time. See y'all next week on the No Way But Through podcast. You've just listened to another episode of the No Way But Through podcast. If you want to connect with other like-minded moms and join our growing online community, head on over to Instagram and follow along with us at No Way But Through. You can always reach me over there throughout the week. And if you'd like to financially support this podcast, there's a link at the bottom of every episode where you can do just that.